for years been, we haven't even copyrighted our material. We allow people to copy it, to give it away. That's what we want.
Did you know that Eric Hovind is making a movie? It's true, and we've got the very first preview clip for you. But, you know, all fact-checked and stuff. Spoilers!
If you're just now joining us, this is a live Genesis movie update. I'm Eric Hovind with Creation Today, and this is Ralph Strain, the director and the producer of the Genesis 3D movie. Been working really hard on this film. Dan is asking, when does the movie come out? Dan, he's going to be done with the movie in late March, which means we should, depending on timing and working with distributors, should be able to distribute either right before or right after summer is what we're looking at. You're going to show them a little 2.5 minute section of the film right now in just a second, aren't you?
I know you sciencey types and movie fans are here to see the preview clip, but first for background, I wanted to play some of Eric's last movie update from way back in 2014. Now, some of you may notice that I'm actually in the Q&A. Let me explain. Back in 2014, I was seriously doubting my Christian faith, but I was still publicly doing all the Christian things. How I ended up on stage is too long a story for now, so let's just roll the clip.
Hey guys, Eric Hovind here, along with Ralph Strain, the director and producer of the Genesis 3D movie. And we got Paul joining us from Canada, and it's time for a December 2014 update. So we wanted to set up just a mock press conference and answer some of your questions. So our social media manager, Sean.
Sean? VenomFangX? Is that you?
Hi everyone, my name is Sean. My username on YouTube is VenomFangX. I'm the social media and crowdfunding campaign director for Genesis 3D.
I used to watch you on YouTube, man. How have you been? What was that last thing you posted?
I deliberately and repeatedly lied to cover up my wrongdoing. I apologize for lying to Thunderfoot and to all of those whom I have deceived.
Oh, that's okay, man. I think everyone's forgotten about that. And now it makes complete sense that you'd be working for Eric.
Sean, why don't you give us one of the questions there?
Genesis 3D, what will its approach be to biblical accuracy?
It's a great question, and it's the one that we actually take the most seriously. We are fully committed to
literal interpretation.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, it's 2014, so we could take a look at science or history or just out our window, really. But movie fans always want studios to remain faithful to the source material. So we made a conscious decision early on to make sure that the movie of Genesis is no more accurate than the book of Genesis.
Next question.
Some people have been asking, will Adam and Eve be portrayed as naked?
Okay, so obviously Adam and Eve were naked as God created them.
Oh, yeah.
This isn't going to be popular among the secular high school students because of that?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
We're definitely committed to making sure that everything that we do is family friendly.
Boo!
We're going to kind of leave it a little bit of a mystery and just let you watch how we handle it.
And we don't have to have strategically placed bushes in every single scene.
Yeah, there's a little hint for you right
Come on, guys. We don't need to be coy. This shot's already in the trailer. Check it out. I call them star pants. Adam and Eve's genitals literally glow so as to draw the most possible attention to them. Star pants. Woo! Hashtag star pants.
What's next?
How will you decide which animals to represent?
What were the original created kinds? What were they like? Because when you take all the varieties of animals today, the different speciation that takes place today, and trace them back to the original kinds, we've discovered there's about 8,000 different kinds, biblical kinds of land-dwelling animals.
But unfortunately, our audience doesn't understand any of that. So if we show like a mesohippus, they're not going to know that that's supposed to be the horse kind. So we're just sticking to the modern look. We'll have the lion kind, and the vegetarian shark kind, and obviously the snakes with legs kind to hand out apples. And we're not putting feathers on our dinosaurs. If Jurassic Park doesn't have to, then we don't have to either.
What you got next, Sean?
Is the film a documentary?
Yes, but kind of tricky one.
You're going to be confronted with some incredible teaching, up-to-date scientific information, top theologians.
The Genesis 3D film has all the top minds in science. There's Ken Ham, who taught high school at some point. There's Ray Comfort, who went to high school.
I'm so excited about this Genesis movie. It's in 3D. You know that?
Also, we're so excited here in the year 2014 to get the endorsement of Jim Duggar and the whole Duggar family. We're so sure that they're going to have no scandals at all in 2015 that we pledge to keep this endorsement on our website until at least 2017.
Yeah. So many Christians are indoctrinated from their youth to believe all sorts of lies.
Christians leaving here going, I cannot believe that I have bought that lie that I was indoctrinated with. Why didn't anybody tell me this before? Well, let me just say, I'm thrilled that you guys have decided to get behind the Genesis movie, the 3D movie. Thank you very much.
Let me just say, this is the truthiest bunch of truth tellers who ever truthed. I'm just excited to be part of it.
Cool. God bless you guys.
Now, most of that is from a real press conference. Link in the description. Anyhow, I'd intended at some point to poke fun at the ever-expanding fundraising efforts of this now near $1 million project, and that they've been promising it for going on 5 years now. But instead, for a change of pace, let me give legitimate props to Eric and Rob on one thing.
I'd say if you're asking why do you need so much money, you probably are speaking not understanding exactly what happens in the world of film and Hollywood.
Yeah.
Before you answer that, you can have one of three. You can have two of three options: good, cheap, and fast. Good, cheap, and fast. You pick two. Well, this is believe it or not, even at $900,000, it's a low-budget film.
I've spent a good chunk of my career working for film production and visual effects companies on projects from tiny budgets to massive. What they are attempting to do with the resources at hand is impressive. Objectively, the landscapes they've shown look pretty good. The animal animation is passable, but more on par with a medium-budget TV show than what the typical theater audiences are used to from ILM or Pixar. But it's passable, particularly for their audience who don't often set foot in the Devil's Theater without Kirk Cameron on the poster. Creatively, they will have achieved something. But don't be fooled by the begging. This is going to be the most profitable venture Eric has ever pulled off. While most people notice the box office numbers only for huge record-breaking releases like Marvel or Star Wars, it goes under the radar that faith-based films are now routinely making $5 million, $10 million, $20 million in theatrical runs alone, with tiny budgets that make them insanely profitable. Then, keep in mind that Eric got his entire production budget on the backs of non-refundable donations from true believers. Every single ticket sold will be pure profit. And that doesn't begin to consider the lifetime monetization of the expanded DVD sets, Netflix runs, Sunday school curriculum packages, and other merchandise they admit they're already producing. For a small ministry, this is going to be huge cash. But enough of all that, you're here to see the science claims. But before we roll the clip, I want to let you know that I'm not going to show the actual cam footage of the scene that Eric showed on Facebook, but just go with stills and audio. While I contend that I would have every ounce of fair use on my side if I were to do so, I've already had aggressive YouTube content blocks every time I've posted video with even a hint of Genesis 3D content like trailers or ads, and I'd just like to avoid that for now. The link to the original Facebook Live video is in the description if you want to check it out. So here we go. The man on the screen will be Dr. Danny Faulkner, a former physics professor and current employee of Ken Ham's Creation Museum.
All right, let's check this out. Here we go.
We understand the sun is powered by nuclear fusion. That could power the sun for billions of years. As it produces energy like that, it changes its composition inside, and over time, it should slowly brighten. And as it does, the Earth would get warmer. Now, again, over thousands of years, not a problem. But if you go back a couple of billion years, 3 billion years or so, when life first supposedly developed on the planet, you have a problem because the Earth would have been far colder and it would have been frozen, and nobody thinks that happened. In billions of years, it's a problem. Thousands of years, not a problem.
So this has been dubbed the early faint sun paradox, and Danny here wrote an article about it in 2001. But these observations were first made by Carl Sagan and George Mullen back in 1972. Yes, that Carl Sagan. Like all good paradoxes, there are two self-contradicting ideas that appear to be true at once. Danny pits the linear extrapolation of a single variable, temperature, against the estimated start of life of 38 billion years ago, and declares it a problem. But we don't know the conditions of the initial life on Earth, and there's independent reason to think it likely began in the warmth of undersea geothermal vents, which wouldn't have been affected by surface temperature. The more quantifiable paradox is between the temperature extrapolation and the evidence that there was liquid form water on the Earth much further back, some 43 billion years ago, as measured in detailed precision in zircons. But new findings have been filling in this puzzle, starting in 2003 with unprecedented accuracy in helioseismology studies that estimated that the Sun lost at least 4 to 7% of its mass during its youth. In 2011, astronomers published this paper with observations showing that stars analogous to our own consistently exhibit early life mass loss due to large variability in X-ray and ultraviolet emissions. While further study remains, the suggested 20 to 25% loss of early solar mass resolves all the faint sun paradox problems. This new model explains other observations as well, including early water on Mars. In fact, the 40-year-old solar model Faulkner adopts here has seen its predictive power fail in multiple areas beyond temperature, including lithium abundance and helioseismology. His god will soon need a new gap.
In fact, other planets in our solar system testify to a young universe as well. Both the density and magnetic field of Mercury cannot allow for millions of years.
Here's a general hint for watching the movie. Whenever you hear cannot allow for, you should translate that to does not yet understand, at best, or at worst, science completely understands but creationists don't want to know. This Mercury density and magnetic field claim likely originates from this article by Russell Humphreys. He claims the magnetic field on Mercury cannot be explained without a liquid core, and that in his view, a planet so small should have a solid core. But physicists have used groundbreaking radio telescopes to measure variations in Mercury's spin rate solely characteristic of a molten core, so we can move on, even though we'll revisit Humphreys' predictions in 5, 4, 3, 2.
In 1984, Russell Humphreys correctly calculated the magnetic fields of Uranus
Now there's a safe pronunciation.
and Neptune several years before the Voyager 2 satellite would measure them. Humphreys used a vital clue from the Bible that the universe was made only 6,000 years ago.
While this movie doesn't address it, scientists have good predictive models for planetary magnetic fields that are completely unrelated to Humphreys' work. But the claim here is that the Bible helped him to get the answer first. Here's the referenced work. It's the strangest thing. I have never seen a paper that literally cites a Bible verse within the body as the sole basis for a scientific assumption. And it includes the sentence, God must have transformed much of the water into other matter such as iron, silicone, minerals, and rock. Yep. He literally plugs a massive hole in his theory with God must have done it. But the Genesis movie is lauding the researcher for prophetic results with these methods. Perhaps unsurprisingly, this miraculous work has not received any notable reviews from critics. However, NASA scientist Tim Thompson did pen a critique of Humphreys' entire magnetic decay theory. In it, Thompson points out that while Humphreys chose a value for time that aligned with young Earth creation, his calculation results are primarily a function of an arbitrarily chosen dipole value. At the time of writing, dipole values for Earth and Saturn were known by Humphreys, so he simply chose values for Neptune and Uranus bigger than the Earth but smaller than Saturn in relation to their size. Humphreys' predictions did not turn out to be precise by any stretch, but merely within an order of magnitude of future observations. Thompson writes, "It is my position that Humphreys' theory cannot be confirmed, since it predicts at once every possible observed field and is therefore useless for predicting anything."
And when the surface of Venus was mapped in the mid-90s, volcanoes, craters, mountains, and other features showed the history of the planet was young.
Indeed, the images from the Magellan spacecraft found around 1,000 craters, where some advanced predictions expected perhaps 5,000. But observations speak louder than predictions. This paper studied the craters, finding they covered a full 89% of the surface of Venus in random distribution with a wide range of depth and composition consistent with billions of years of life. Further studies in volcanic lava flow on Venus indicate the value must be at least 2 billion years old. While scientists might call 2 billion years a young age, the movie is misleading the audience by grabbing the term out of context and implying that it's less than 6,000 years.
Neptune's moon, Miranda, is too hot to be old.
Too hot to be old? Cindy Crawford is too hot to be old. What kind of science is this? Miranda is remarkable for its jumbled mix of varied surface features on a small area, deep fault canyons, terraced layers, and a mix of seemingly old and young surfaces. Some hypothesize that the moon is shattered and reformed multiple times in its existence. At minus 187 degrees Celsius, it is not the temperature that is a mystery, but rather the apparent tectonic activity that seems to have taken place given those frigid temperatures. Evidence suggests that Miranda has experienced intermittent periods of warming from external heat sources, possibly tidal heating from the gravitational tug of Uranus. But it's definitely not hot, it's cold. And it looks weird. We don't yet know why it looks weird, and it's okay that we don't yet know.
Pluto still has nitrogen in its atmosphere.
Wait, Earth has nitrogen. Should we not have nitrogen? I didn't even understand this one until I found Danny's article. He argues that because Pluto is so small, it possibly should have been depleted long ago, but that doesn't sound very precise. Pluto's rate of nitrogen escape has been studied. Assuming the current rate of 500 tons per hour, multiplied by 4.5 billion years, that's a mere 0.15% of Pluto's total mass. If we're just going to intuitively guess what's reasonable, that seems reasonable to me.
The rings of Saturn and Neptune aren't uniform, as they would be after millions of years.
How uniform should they be? This sounds like more guessing and intuition. It has long been established that planetary rings don't form at the same time as the planet itself, but are instead made of debris drawn in later by the body's gravity. This could be literally any amount of time after the planetary formation. The rings and the planet are never the same age. That said, in 2017, NASA released findings indicating that the debris field in Saturn's rings are a wide variety of ages. The rings accumulated not in a single event, but we now observe that the material is constantly recycling, shattering and reforming in the frictionless vacuum of space, defying any atmosphere-centric sorting expectations.
So do we trust in the timeline of men who are repeatedly wrong and having to change their beliefs?
I'll probably do a separate video on just this claim sometime. But by repeatedly wrong, what you really mean is constantly looking for any flaw in their own work. And having to change their beliefs, you mean adjusting whenever new information calls for it. Look, I understand the psychology behind wanting certainty, but do you really want a mechanic who doesn't know power steering? A computer programmer who denies touchscreens? A doctor who thinks X-rays are a conspiracy? A plumber who uses only outhouses? In any other situation, would you trust a person who never admits to being wrong? Who never learns anything new? Who never ever changes their mind no matter what new information is discovered?
Or do we trust in the Bible, which has never been proven wrong and does not change?
I find it interesting that he didn't say, trust the Bible that has been proven right, but rather, the Bible which has never been proven wrong. Off the top of my head, here are just a few books that do not change and have never been proven wrong. The Quran, the Chronicles of Narnia, the Bhagavad Gita, Harry Potter. By your criteria, all of these should be trusted for absolute truth. Prove to me that there's no Narnia. Prove there's no Hogwarts. That's what you should hear. As for the Bible, maybe take a look at Genesis 30, where it says Joshua was able to get striped lambs by having solid sheep breed in front of a striped fence. Genetics has proven that wrong. I would humbly ask you, should we not trust a claim only when it has been adequately demonstrated to conform with reality? Wouldn't that be best?
Oh, you gotta be kidding me!
Yeah, only so much I can show.
Oh, Ralph!
Whew! That was a mere 2-minute clip, and it asserted no fewer than 7 science claims. That's more bullets than Wonder Woman can stop. At an hour and 50 minutes, this movie might spitfire 400 claims at its unsuspecting audience. They won't have the time to process them or be able to remember to investigate them. They'll just walk away feeling affirmation that there's a lot of justification for their biblical beliefs, if they should choose to look. That's exactly what I thought when I was a Christian, until I chose to look. My big regret here is that living in Canada, I probably won't be anywhere near a theater that plays Genesis 3D, so I won't have a chance to give you my thoughts whenever it comes out. Maybe I should start a fundraising campaign for a trip to Pensacola in...
We're definitely releasing it in 2017.
If you say so. See you on the red carpet. If you like this video, and if you think YouTube should promote it to others, you can help that happen by giving a thumbs up or a thumbs down, subscribing to the Paulogia channel, and leaving me a comment below. Unfortunately, that's just the way YouTube works now, but I do enjoy your feedback. Thanks for watching.